Waterfowler41 here, and in today's video, we're talking about a very sad thing that I'm doing. I am trading in the truck for that Tesla. I'm just kidding, that's my neighbor's truck, and I don't like Teslas. But in today's video, we are actually going to be installing the TackForm foam mount system in my 2023 Raptor. So, couple things here. First, I got to give mad props to the Ford Raptor Nation moderators. A lot of them turned me onto the TackForm system. To be completely honest, wasn't truly on my radar. I've seen a bunch of Instagram ads about it, but really haven't looked too much into it. A lot of them spoke super highly of the kits that they have. Looked into it, and I was like, damn. That checks a lot of the boxes for a foam mount system that I want in my truck. Second reason, one of the core principles of my channel, and I think if you watch my channel long enough, you know that I support Midwest companies as much as I can. I go out of my way to support those companies. Well, the cool thing about TackForm is they're right here in Illinois. So that's super awesome. In the Midwest, in Illinois, super cool. I'm from Illinois, love supporting companies like that one. So anyway, today's video, we're going to be installing the TackForm system. So this is their slimline mount that's going to go up on top of the dash. They also have a Picatinny version of it, so it's basically the same mount, but there's a Picatinny bracket. So if you have a bunch of those accessories, you can go with that. But this one, slimline, it's super thick aluminum, bent nicely. It's going to contour to the dash. It's going to look super sleek, super nice. But it's really cool because you can install this one of three ways. The first way you can install it, which is the easiest, is just pull off the backing tape on a double stick tape, pop it in on top of your dash, and you're good to go. Second way is they give you self-tapping screws. You drive those through here after you tape it to your dash, and then it holds it in place. And then the third way, which is what we're gonna do, is you could drop screws through here, drill holes in the plastic panel that this attaches to, and then there's little brackets that go on the underside of it that bolt right to that, and then give you a nice sturdy mount. So here's the bracket. On the driver's side, we're going to have our mount. So this mount basically pops in here. And what I like about the TackForm stuff is you can mount the bracket or mount the base. You don't need to remove the base to put any of these guys on. So you can do that right from the top. So a lot of the other ones that I've tried in the past, you have to take off the whole bracket, flip it over, underside, put the ball on there, and then reinstall it. This one you don't. So super cool. You just slide it into this track and move it where you need it. So got a ball mount for both sides. Let's talk about the driver's side option that basically is for me. You got your arm. You got a little bit of I'll call it a shunt for the ball mount, and then that's going to attach to and it's actually pronounced a Qi charger. I've always called them QI chargers, but this is a MagSafe charger for my iPhone. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that wire, I'm going to run it behind the dash, and then we're going to pop it in through the little cubby in front, but we'll talk about that once we get in truck. So on the driver's side, Qi charger, arm, ball mount. Passenger side, we're going to go with the spring mount, so it doesn't matter what sort of phone case the person passenger seat has. I know my son doesn't have a MagSafe one, my wife does. They both appreciate using this one, so they both can use it. And then an arm mount there, and then another ball mount. Now on top of all this, we're going to accessorize it a little bit. So these come stock, these are the carbon fiber arms. They come stock with black knobs. But since we have the orange accents, I figured, why not? Let's go with some orange accents. So that's what I picked up for both sides. So what this will allow you to do is replace the knob, as well as the little collars here, with orange anodized accents. Now I think they got blue, red, and a few other colors as well, pink. But I feel like orange is gonna match nicely. So let's go ahead, grab our bracket, hop in the truck, and I'll show you how to start the install, because the first thing we're gonna do is actually mount this guy with the tape. And then from there, we're gonna remove the panel and we'll drill our holes here in the garage. Not gonna do it in the truck, but you can mount this where you want it with that panel in place, and it actually gives you a really good idea as to kind of where you have it and where you have it centered. So we're gonna do that, so let's get in the truck. All right, so here's the plan. The bracket itself is gonna mount up here eventually. We'll get there in a second. Once I install the charger, I'm gonna run the cable. I'm gonna use one of the existing holes I have drilled in this little top plate here, drop the wire behind my radio, and then I'm gonna drill a tiny little hole to feed it out right here. That way I could plug it into the USB-C port here, so I don't have that wire hanging around on the outside. So that's gonna be super slick, and I gotta give some props to Coach Keith, my buddy, because he was the one who originally did this with a system, and it looks great, looks nice and seamless, so I'm gonna copy him here. But again, what he did is just basically drop the wire down behind there, fish it through. We're gonna pull off this panel, drill a hole in here, and then pull our wire out so it's nice and discreet. Then you can keep this closed the whole time. You don't need to have that wire hanging out there. But like I said, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pull off the backing tape here and mount this guy. Now, in order to do that, the first thing we wanna do to prep the surface is get this guy out of there. So there's a little rubber tray in there. And then, since we're using adhesive, I have some isopropyl alcohol on this microfiber. Gonna go ahead and wipe things down. We'll let that dry. But ultimately, the reason I said let's leave that thing installed for now is this way we can figure out where we want that bracket mounted, and we want to adjust the forward and back to exactly where we want it once it's fully installed. We don't want it too tight touching the plastic here, maybe a little bit of space between it, and then we'll center it. We'll get the backing tape pulled off, get it mounted there. Once we get that done, then we can pull off that grill there. We'll unbolt that little panel and we'll be able to pull the thing out. But let's get this guy mounted and then I'll show you how to remove all the panels. All right, so we got our bracket just taped into place using the double stick tape that comes pre-applied to the bracket. Now the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and pull this speaker bracket up. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I think I can. Where there's a will, there's a way. There we go. All right. Now we got that guy out of the way. Now I'm gonna need to go grab a 7mm socket because there is a screw here and a screw here. And once you undo that, this whole bracket will come up, and I'm gonna show you a way to get this bracket off easier versus trying to pull right here. So before you go to pull this bracket off, what you could do is pull this trim piece back, and that gives you access to the lip here. And now it's much easier to pull this thing out. Now there is a pry tool in the kit and you can use that to pry in here, but it is very easy to pull this trim piece off and it makes removing this trim panel much easier. But let's go get that 7mm socket, remove that screw, and then I'll pull out this bracket, hop in the garage, we'll drill our 2 holes on each side, get the other backing plate installed here, and then this thing's installed and then it's just running the wires. All right, so we got our panel completely removed from the truck. Our TackForm bracket is still just double stick taped in place. Again, if that's the process you're gonna use, then you're done. You don't even need to remove this panel. But like I said, I like drilling holes in my truck, so that's what we're gonna do. One thing I will call out, this is where good companies are separated from great companies. So good companies, yeah, a lot of people can make decent brackets, but the companies that give you the decent bracket, they give you all the tools you need, including the hex head, the drill bit you need for drilling a hole. That's what separates great from good. So TackForm, great job. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and install drill 4 holes, 2 holes in each of the legs. Then we're gonna find the nut and bolt hardware kit. Now this is what's pretty slick. They give you this little backing plate, and this backing plate goes in the underside of this plastic thing, and it has 2 threaded inserts. All we do is take the screw with the tool that they give you, pass the screw through there, use the tool to tighten it, and then it just basically installs right in here. It's super simple. All right, the TackForm bracket is fully installed. So here's the top of it, and there's the backside. These plates are nice. I feel like you can really crank down on the screws here, so it gives you a nice solid mounting grab onto the bracket itself. So you got our threaded backing plates here, and you see a bunch of holes. Looks like Swiss cheese. But basically what we're gonna do now is set this guy aside. I'm gonna leverage one of these holes. So I have a whole bunch of holes in here. We're good to go. What I'm gonna do is grab the wire out of here that will plug into the Qi charger. And then I'm gonna go figure out what the best route to route that guy down behind the stereo and then pop it out in that little cubby hole section. I'll show you how I run that before I put all the panels back, and then we'll close this one out. All right, so we got our wire run. You can see the end of it here. That's gonna pop through one of the holes here on the top dash piece. Then I have it run behind this little lip here, and then pop it down right here. And then let's see if we can get in there. You can see I just drilled a little hole there, and then I have the wire pass through, and then it plugs right into the USB-C there. What I might get in the long term is a little bit of grommet there, but it's drilled there, so driver's side can't even see it. And then the beauty is now I can close it. So I really don't care too much about it. But it did require me to remove the top piece, obviously, from a trim perspective, this trim, and then this trim over here. So this trim is pretty simple. All you do is just pull from this little edge here. It's all push pins along the way. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and put all the trim pieces back together. And then what we could do is we could pop this piece back on. It's got our TackForm mount on there. I'm gonna run that wire right through that hole. Then the wire is gonna chase the arm. There's some wire containment on the arm, and then we're good to go, and this will plug right into our Qi charger. All right, so now I'm gonna show you how you can replace the knobs and the collars on the arms here. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and loosen this knob and completely remove it. Once we get that guy off, we're good to go. Then we're gonna remove this top portion. And in order to remove the collars, it's super simple. You just basically pull, and it's just an O-ring holding it in place. So we'll pull that guy off, go ahead and pop this one on there, make sure it seats properly. There we go. Then we're gonna take our clamp, and our clamp just simply reinstalls like so. Then we take our orange knob or our accent knob and just thread that guy on there for now. Now to give that the nice finished look, you can see there's kind of an open on the end. You take a little pick tool here, or you could take a small hex head that comes in the kit here, push through, remove that guy, and it simply pops right in there. So there you go. That's the accent side, and that's the non-accent side. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace these with the orange ones as well. The one thing I do also wanna point out here is It's nice that all of these arms come with cable management gaskets on them, or cable management clamps, which is nice. You don't got to buy these extra. It's nice, especially in my case when I'm doing a charger. I can just pop the little cable in there, gives it a nice clean look. But we're gonna go ahead and get these guys off. Then we'll hop in the truck. I'll show you how to install the Slim Track 20mm balls, and then we are done with the project. All right, so as far as installing the balls on the Slimline track, you find a little opening here. And again, this is one of the highlights of this kit, is you can install these balls without having to remove the whole bracket. So once you got your T-slot thing all put together here, go ahead and pop it in like so. You gotta get it lined up. And once you do, slides right on. So this is the one for my passenger side. I'm going to move it all the way over to the side. Once you get it where you want it, you just go ahead and use a hex key here to tighten that bad boy down. So that guy is fully installed where I want him. Then you just take your arm, you attach that, and then we're going to attach our clamp to that arm. And then I'll let the passenger figure out wherever the hell they want to put that one. But again, I already went ahead and installed the powered side. It's exactly where I want it. Put it right there. Perfect. It's not blocking my view. And it's going to give me that charging port access with my phone. So just to show you that it does work. So the USB port is on now. Take my phone, put it right there, and you'll see in a second, once that USB port gets full power, it'll start charging here. There you go. So now it's charging. So super simple. Pull it off if I ever need the phone, put it back on there, and it starts charging. So that's awesome. So anyway, got the cable, ran it down between this channel, drilled a little hole on the inside here. What's slick is I could close this now. I don't need to leave that open with this ugly white cable hanging out there. Then I have the passenger side, which we'll finish up here in a bit. Clamp that guy on there. That guy's going to use a spring clamp. That way people could use it without a MagSafe case, or MagSafe cases can use this. Pretty simple. There's a ton of accessories on the website. Maybe I picked up the MagSafe one down the road. All right, so both arms are fully installed. We got the passenger side with that spring clamp here. Got the driver's side with the MagSafe powered charger one. Have it adjusted exactly where I want. I had just enough cable to run from up here, down below the trim or behind the trim here, and then pop into here. I drilled a little bit of a hole. It ties in with the USB-C port. Looks nice and clean and finished. Then everything's out of the way. Now I no longer have this cord hanging there. So got everything there just to kind of show you the charger. So you got my phone here, throw it on there, and boom, it is charging. Super slick. I really like how that turned out, and it's not blocking my view at all. Love having the phone there. But anyway, that's how you install the TackForm stuff. Huge shout out to TackForm for creating such an awesome product. Absolutely love the look of the arms, the stability. It's awesome. And bonus points because it's a Midwest company and they're right here in Illinois. So definitely go check them out. I'll leave a link to their product down below. Also, huge shout out to the Ford Raptor Nation folks for turning me on to this one. Again, we were discussing phone mounts a couple weeks back, and a lot of them had TackForm. I said, you know what? I've never tried that one. Trying it. Absolutely love it. So I'm excited to keep using this one, and I promise this is the last phone mount system that I'll be installing in my truck. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. Peace.